Hello, my name is Emily, as you may or may not know, and today we are going to be chatting about the ugly guy and hot girl combination. A combination that we all know and love, or perhaps some feel that they are tolerating. Now, first of all, this goes without saying, okay, whether or not somebody is deserving of love should never be based on their looks. It should be based on money and power. No, obviously it should be based on personality, and also, attractiveness is so subjective. What does ugly really even mean, right? In fact, let me look it up. What does ugly really even mean? Wait, can we take a second to talk about how gorgeous this browser looks? Thanks to today's sponsor, Opera. Opera is a browser that offers really cool built-in features that can make day-to-day life so much easier, okay? Especially for someone like me who is basically working on her computer nonstop. For example, Opera offers tab islands, which help you organize your tabs by topic. I have stuff going on with acting, filmmaking, and YouTube, so it's seriously helpful to be able to keep track of all the work I'm doing with this feature. You're able to name, color code, and expand and collapse your tab islands, keeping your browser looking clean and not cluttered. They also have tab traces, which allows you to easily track your most recently used tabs using a visual trace, a subtle underscore. When you have a ton of tabs open, you can easily see where you're coming and going from the most with just a glance. The darker the underscore on the tab, the more recently you visited that tab. Opera also offers customizable themes for your browser. It was fun going through all of their options and seeing which aesthetic I liked best, right? I ended up liking Orbit the best because, I don't know, I just found it peaceful to look at. I really liked the glittery, sparkly vibe. Now, this might be my favorite feature, the split screen feature. You can have up to 4 tabs showcased on your screen at once, which is great for me because it's super often in my work that I have to, reference multiple tabs at once. You can resize tabs, choose between horizontal or vertical layouts, and really optimize your screen space. For example, working on my short film has really required me to be looking at multiple things at once. Looking up framing, referencing my pitch deck, the shot list. With so much going on, Opera really helps me keep things in one place. And when you're done, the split screen feature is really easy to exit out of. So if you want to browse smarter, click the link below and get Opera. And thank you so much to Opera for sponsoring today's video. Anyways, back to attractiveness being subjective. Although there are certain societal metrics we have to measure attractiveness that can almost make it feel objective, personal taste definitely still exists. Even the most beautiful people in the world still don't do it for everyone. There's men on Twitter right now who are calling Margot Robbie mid. They're typing out, Lupita Nyong'o is only okay, and in the devil's hot hell they mean it. Or another example, and mind you, I never cared about One Direction. Basically at all, right? But the fact that people could look at Zayn and not believe that he was the most beautiful man in any room, that to me is proof that attractiveness is subjective to an almost bewildering and off-kilter degree. Ultimately, the most important thing in a romantic relationship is that each partner is feeling loved, happy, safe, fulfilled, and all that other shit. And some people might be asking, well, if that's true, then why do people take it upon themselves to comment about the looks of either party in a relationship? Isn't that really superficial? Some might argue, yes. But we kind of just live in a painfully superficial world. I don't think that anyone can deny that. So I think that pointing out a general phenomenon and its implications can add to the socio-cultural conversation surrounding superficiality. And also, I'm not saying anything new. I think this is kind of a thing where it's like, yeah, we've been known that, but I'm just like talking about it because I think it's interesting. That's kind of all this channel is. Is that okay? Most people care about looks to a certain degree despite gender, and being considered ugly and having to, deal with the societal hardships of that label affects both genders. But although that's true, when it comes to prioritizing physical attractiveness, who tends to be the main culprits? And who tends to be more flexible in who they find physically attractive and worthy of their time? I think we already have an idea. There are relationships that can be perceived as attractiveness gap relationships. Which, Jesus, if somebody labeled my relationship that, well, fucking great, right? Anyone can be susceptible to this no matter of your gender or orientation, but people have noticed that this tends to be a thing seen in straight couples with the woman being the more attractive one. That's why there are so many jokes about girls feeling super, super hesitant to show you a picture of the guy that they're talking to, or, you know, any and all inquiries shall be answered with, he looks better in person. Or why we get images like this. Or trends like the average SEC couple that was circulating. SEC standing for Southeastern Conference, which I had no idea what that was. It's sports related, which is just entirely out of my wheelhouse, but it's a collegiate athlete conference. And the joke is basically that whenever you see a very attractive woman, she's typically blonde with a man who is, you know, supposedly less attractive than her, you're supposed to, you know, comment average SEC couple. And then you're guaranteed at least, what, like 15 likes? This joke was apparently very popular within the college football fan space, which is extremely outside of my demographic, I think, right? And that just goes to show how this sentiment is so ubiquitous. Or, you know, when we think about National Boyfriend Day, some people take it more as a threat than a celebration. I mean, this past National Boyfriend Day, I can't even count the number of posts I saw that were basically like, please put a trigger warning when you post your boyfriend today. Today is National Boyfriend Day, so I will be taking a 24-hour break from social media for my own optic health. I don't know what's going on, but it seems to me that many of my female Instagram followers are posting various Bigfoot sightings onto their stories. I am suggesting that we get the National Park Rangers involved, and they need to bring a net the size of Illinois. Take an inside look beyond the ER and into the writer's room of the pit. Can you give us any insight as to what the next season is going to look like? Yes, you know, this second season took place during the 4th of July. Obviously, there's plenty of opportunity there for an influx of patients, all with different reasons for admission, right? But for this next season, we really wanted to focus on something that often goes under the radar in the healthcare system, although it's affected so many people on such a personal level. And that is National Boyfriend Day. Oh. I know. Thinking about the fast-paced environment of the ER, there's a very fast pace to National Boyfriend Day as well, right? You're scrolling through Instagram and boom, 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 you are being visually accosted. You are tapping through stories and boom, 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 Eric, Joseph, Kevin. It shocks the nervous system. That seems really harsh. Yes. You know, when we were in the writer's room, we wanted to give this topic justice. We wanted to showcase the severity, right? So we're gonna have swarms of patients coming in under emotional distress, mass blindings, psychosis, right? Even a moment of reflection from one of our female residents who posted her ugly boyfriend that morning. She can't help but think, is this my fault? Am I responsible? Are you serious? No, this is a skit. So let's talk about women and their increased tolerance towards being with men who might deviate from the societal norms of what is considered to be attractive. Now, I'm not going to name specific couples right now, but we all know that there's plenty of celebrity couples where the woman is just undeniably beautiful. And then the man that she's dating is, well, kind of proof that it's what's on the inside that matters. You know, it's almost like an inspiring story. But honestly, at this point, it's a little bit more run-of-the-mill, huh? You know, it's like the first time you see a three-legged dog jump through a hoop on fire, we're gonna be impressed, but then after the 50th time, it's like, okay, yeah, we get it. Most, if not all women, do care about looks, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're hunting for the hottest man in the room. In fact, they might be actively avoiding those men. They might be more looking for a man that fits their specific type, which might be considered more unconventional. This is a little unconventional and weird. We wouldn't be seeing women with less attractive boyfriends so often if they weren't actively choosing that, right? It happens a little bit too much to just be isolated coincidences. Women seem to be a lot more prone towards prioritizing personality, and some people even put looks and personality together, saying that, you know, there's this connotation with being super, super hot that you're also boring, right? And I do have to say, this is also judgmental of me. When I'm at a party and I see a really, really hot man, my first thought isn't like, I bet he's gonna be super nice. This is a man who donates to charity. And he very well could, but I think it's like our own biases that are like, no, you don't want the hottest guy in the room. You want the guy who is like less attractive, but like he's really, really funny and has a hobby. He like knows origami or something. So a lot of women might have an affinity towards average or even below average looking men. And so many women have developed a taste, this sort of taste for men, that a term was popularized, ugly hot. When it comes to women, I find that we're often categorized, but we're hardly ever combining categories. The only one that I can think of is like cutie sexy, but those are two positives, right? And I think that for women, it's like cute, pretty, hot, sexy, ugly, and mid, how could I forget? Oh my God, mid, it's huge. But the term ugly hot is really this twofer, combining the different ends of the spectrum, and it's really only used in regards to men. I kind of wanted to refrain from listing any specific names when discussing a term like ugly hot. But I do feel that I need to list some just, solely for reference. Some people who have been listed as ugly hot are Jeremy Allen White, Adam Driver, Benedict Cumberbatch, Pete Davidson, Barry Keoghan, and others. Love the diversity. I feel like in order to be categorized as ugly hot, there needs to be this sort of you get it or you don't kind of attitude. Your attractiveness almost needs to be a source of discourse, which I'm sure is a great feeling. Bro, you fucking made it, all right? I told you that you were gonna pop off.
Wait, what?
You're in a Cosmo article, bro. My girlfriend sent it to me.
No way?
What the hell? What? Get hype, man!
The title of the article is 10 ugly hot male celebrities that turn us on for better or for worse.
Oh.
And then the subtitle is get ready to get confused about your own standards and maybe get slightly judged by your friends. This summer's hottest or ugliest trend is the ugly hot man.
I mean, they're basically saying you're hot.
I don't think so, man. I don't feel good.
All right, man, just forget about it.
Wait, okay, one of the comments says I'm handsome.
All right, there you go.
But it has like 348 replies.
For sure.
So I think people are kind of discussing, might be a little up in the air. This person responded saying that anyone who thinks I'm attractive shouldn't be allowed to drive because they have severe visual impairment. But then the next person said that they would hop on that thing like the Energizer Bunny hooked up to a generator.
All right, let's not look at that anymore. Now, I have seen rhetoric online, mostly on Twitter, which, thank God, is not representative of the general population. But, men kind of saying things along the lines of, every man needs a mid-woman who will support his gambling addiction. And that will be a comment under a picture of, like, Jessica Alba. Or there is a phrase, beautiful mid, which is kind of like the phrase ugly hot. And a part of me was almost like a little, not excited, because, I mean, it's just like ugly hot. It's also kind of insulting. But I was like, oh, like maybe there is an equivalent. Except, well, it's often used with very conventionally attractive women. These women are hardly pushing the boundaries of what's considered to be attractive. It's kind of like, is there a hint of mid in the building? If I had a mid detector, I'm not so sure it would be going off. All right? Being mid is not like carbon monoxide. We can see it. Something else that people have noticed about men online is that a lot of the times, the men who are the quickest to criticize a woman's looks aren't necessarily the best lookers themselves. You're calling a woman who's been on the cover of Sports Illustrated a generous 4 out of 10, when the only thing you would ever be on the cover of is a missing persons poster, and that's not for the aesthetics, that's just for due diligence and concern. And obviously at this point, some of these are just ironic jokes or just pure rage bait. For example, I saw this tweet and it actually did make me laugh. Every guy needs a mid girl to call their own. and then it's a picture of Helen of Troy. I saw another post that I can only assume is rage bait where the caption says, Madeline Klein is the prime example of a beautiful mid. Right. So yeah, the fact that the phrase beautiful mid, or even mid in general, is so often used, towards just conventionally attractive women, whether it's a joke or not, just really goes to show that there is no female equivalent for ugly hot. At least not in earnest, right? Because a lot of these ugly hot men do have a sort of unconventional appeal. Another showcase of this sort of thing is the distinction between men's and women's hear me outs. Now, if you don't know what a hear me out is, it basically refers to someone, or sometimes in women's case, something that you are attracted to, and it kind of got spun into this big joke. However, people noticed that men's hear me outs tended to be towards conventionally attractive women, or the women deviate ever so slightly from the norm. And then women's hear me outs were just towards some bullshit. Just some bullshit, honestly. And I know women probably aren't serious when they were saying all this stuff, but God help me. When Nosferatu came out, I have an open mind. I'm trying to understand you. Sometimes the straight woman psyche, it's beyond me. And listen, I can find men attractive. Aesthetically, I can appreciate a good-looking man. That man had maggots coming out of his skin. And I was seeing tweets that were like, yeah, I don't care, I would still let him put me through the mattress. He needs to be putting you through some mulch with his maggot-covered arse. But basically the gender distinction between the hear me outs became such a noticeable phenomenon that there was a ton of jokes about it on TikTok.
Billie Eilish, yes. Olivia Rodrigo, she's so bad.
Yes. Times New Roman font.
I agree!
Yeah.
Hear me out. Yo, like a little bit, I'm not gonna lie.
Girl, is it just me? Or when you were watching the movie, like he was...
Oh my.
Okay. It's ChatGPT.
Because, the contrast is, it's apparent. Being the top hear me outs of the year, I mean, guys, that's an incredible feat. Nicole, I would love to start with you. What is it like taking the top spot for the men's pick this year? I do have to say, it's such an honor to be a representation for middle-aged women, and I hope men can continue pushing the boundaries of what women they find attractive, despite the sin of aging. It is a disgusting sin, but proud of you nonetheless. And then for the women's pick, we have Swiper from the live-action Dora the Explorer adaptation released in 2019. Hey, super happy to be here! I wasn't really expecting it, but I guess ladies like a bad boy, huh? Evidently. I'm really happy that Nicole and I are able to share the throne. I mean, I think the fact that we could be considered on the same level is really such an honor for me. We also wanted to show you guys a little message that the other contestants put together to congratulate you on your win. All right, let's play it. Hey Nicole, just wanted to congratulate you on winning Top Hear Me Out of the Year. I know backhanded compliments might be a little bit new to you still, but you're taking it all with grace, baby. Swiper, let's go, man. You know what? It was a tough race, but you won fair and square. Congratulations. Was that the Pringles logo? And listen, like I said, I know that the trend is a joke. You don't honestly want to have sex with Mater from the Pixar movie Cars. But then, sometimes we look at the men you date, and I mean this with the utmost respect. Maybe you would date Mater from Cars. On his worst day, even. It would be nice if men could offer that same leniency, although that's not the case. Women being more likely to date down and men being more likely to aim out of their league really boils down to this thing that I've said 1,000 times on this channel, right? Women are valued because of their looks and men are valued because of what they provide. But in a day and age where so many women are providing for themselves without a man, you don't always date down because it poses a financial benefit. You date them because maybe they're funny, talented, charming, have other redeeming qualities, or maybe also because no matter how much the modern dating scene evolves, the one thing that stays constant is the value on female looks and desirability. Now, for many women, including myself, right hand on the Bible. I think we desire being desired. It feels good. Hey, what can I say, right? However, this doesn't personally make me go date ugly men. But I could see how there is a little bit of an enticing dynamic between you and a man who is perceived as lucky to be with you, even though that's like kind of fucked up. Now, I don't think that women want to objectify themselves, but when it comes to romantic relationships, I think a lot of women would rather be viewed as the prize rather than the winner, even if they wouldn't want to say that out loud, right? And they might think they're the prize not just on the basis of looks, but also their other successes and achievements that they've accomplished. And I'm not saying that it's right to feel this way, but as a woman, when so much of what you offer is your physical appearance, if you are noticeably behind your partner in that department, it can feel less like you won a prize and more like you just plain lost.
All right, now welcome back, and Samantha. If you get this question correct, you will be the grand prize winner. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm fucking ready!
All right, the final question. When was the War of 1812?
1812! 1812 is in the name. It's in the name.
Samantha, that is correct! Congratulations! You are the grand prize winner of an out-of-your-league boyfriend!
Wait, what?
What? What's wrong? Do you feel uncomfortable accepting another human being as your gift?
No, it's not even that. It's just, he's really handsome.
Is that a problem?
Yeah, I just don't want to be walking around with him, and then when they see us together, they think that he's doing charity work. I just don't really believe in that.
In what?
Charity.
I'm sorry, folks. Let me just get this straight. You don't want an attractive boyfriend?
No, I do. It's just that I don't want him to be more attractive than me. You know what I mean? Because if it's like, I'm the uglier one out of the two of us, why would I willingly put myself in last place? You know what I mean?
Well, technically you would be in first place for ugliness.
I see your point. On the other hand, for some men, even when they know they aren't the most physically attractive, that does not stop them from approaching beautiful, beautiful women. And you know, this is not to say, how dare these hideous, ghastly ogres even step foot near these ethereal beings. But rather, you know, I wish we could all have that confidence, right? Because when it comes to these men, it doesn't really matter whether the confidence is warranted or not, it's there. And I understand that because of gender norms, the task of approaching is basically always designated to men. It seems to me that straight women would rather hug the juice out of a swollen cactus than ever approach a man. But even if the task of approaching was designated to women, which now I'm just speaking in a hypothetical, but I get the sense that women would have a more solid cognizance of what is attainable for them compared to what men currently have, right? If I'm at a party, I'm not going up to Michael B. Jordan. I'm not going up to Jungkook because I have my wits about me. Again, I don't want to assert that, like, ugly men don't have the right to talk to people, right? But just pointing out the distinction that I think, you know, women who are not deemed attractive, if the roles were reversed solely on the basis of who's approaching whom, women would feel a lot more hesitant to approach someone who is very clearly out of their league. Because, you know, if you feel that you're of a certain bracket of attractiveness and that bracket happens to be lower, if you're aiming for one of the hottest guys in the room, that disparity will only be highlighted, and I think that is something that a lot of women just wouldn't want to bring attention to. And there's a lot of men who just don't seem to have that issue at all. And, you know, to these men, I know that it's hard to approach people. That's why I don't do it. As long as you're being respectful and can take no as an answer, no matter what you look like, personally, I'm typically flattered, but never really enticed. And while men should never be entitled or expect women to welcome their advances, a part of me does kind of understand this confidence because we just see the ugly guy, hot girl archetype so much in media, in real life. And, you know, I could see the mindset of, oh, if that guy can do it, I certainly can. There are so many figureheads for the less attractive guy with a hot girlfriend community that it's no wonder these men are walking around thinking that they can pull a Victoria's Secret model. All ugly men across the world unite in their greatest pursuit, bagging a baddie that can give them social capital.
Hi, what do you want?
Hi, ma'am. Do you have any time to talk about ugly men today? Wait.
I'm not home.
I'm a volunteer at the Ugly Men Seeking Baddies Association, or UMSBA. We're one of the fastest growing groups in America, and I do have to say, you know, your demographic has been pretty supportive. You know, Asian women.
I don't care.
We try to encourage men to aim higher for themselves and push the message that looks aren't everything.
Do the men involved advocate for ugly women too?
If you sign our petition, then you get a coupon for a bucket of free Wingstop fries.
All I have to do is sign it.
Yes, just sign it and this is the coupon then. But it really does all just come back to social capital, right? Because men are human. I'm sure it doesn't feel good to be chastised about your looks or have your relationship be met with genuine, sincere confusion. I don't think I'd be thrilled if people saw me with my girlfriend and their first question wasn't, "How are you?" but just, "How?" But even when these guys know that they're not necessarily a looker compared to their girlfriend, some of them have this mindset where they're able to take their presumed weakness and it only makes them that much stronger.
Why is every pretty girl with a horrible looking man? I don't understand. You give an ugly guy a chance, he thinks he rules the world. I swear to God. Because they got a hot girl, they can be horrible.
Because men haven't traditionally been conditioned to prioritize looks in the way that women do, unless now, of course, we have the modern day looks maxing, which, hi, women did that first. Men seem to be more capable of interpreting this gap as a confidence booster rather than a source of insecurity, which I think would be the case for some women if hot men even gave ugly women a chance. You know, like, you're telling me, a solid 5, that I could bag a 10 out of 10 Instagram baddie with 30K followers with this neutral-leaning negative mug? I've defied the odds. I'm a goddamn hero. I run this city. Put the money in the bag and no one gets hurt.
If only someone was here to help us.
Don't worry. I'm here. Who the fuck are you? Joe Schmo. Joe Schmo? That's right. Now leave this poor establishment alone. Dude, I'm robbing a Chase bank, not a mom and pop shop. Can you just go? Like, what are you gonna do? Don't make me show you my girlfriend.
What is he talking
What?
about?
You asked for this! What the hell? She's gorgeous, but you're so chopped! She's literally hot as fuck with an insane body! Alright, chill, that's my girlfriend. I'm sorry. If I would have known what you were capable of, I would have never challenged you, sir. That's alright, son. Just know your place from here on out.
What's going on?
Now, it's one thing to get more confident because you have an amazing partner, but then it's another thing to develop an ego. And I think some women have this idea where, you know, oh, if I date a less attractive guy, then, oh my God, I'm gonna be worshipped. I'm gonna have a one-way ticket to Goddessville. He's gonna thank his lucky stars every day that I chose him, and he would be a fucking idiot to ever mistreat me. And then as it turns out, well, unlike confidence, with ego, there can be a foundation of external validation, status, and perception. And, you know, a confident person generally can remain confident no matter who they're surrounded by. But someone driven by ego may prioritize being around people who elevate their perception, and that's how they feel good about themselves. They might be constantly looking for the most rich, famous, or attractive person in the room and want proximity to that person. I mean, everybody knows that men having accessibility to young, beautiful women is a status symbol. I mean, look at how women are utilized in TV, film, music videos, right? Whenever a man is surrounded by young, beautiful women, he's often portrayed as a Casanova or rich or powerful. So when a guy gets a girlfriend who is so physically out of his league and he happens to be egotistical, he might think to himself, if this is what I'm doing now, just imagine what I could be capable of. I'm making it sound like a fucking supervillain, but for women, you know I love you, but there is a little bit of ego in assuming that because you are more attractive than your boyfriend, you deserve to be treated better than how he would normally treat someone else. I understand that men generally tend to treat beautiful women with more interpersonal respect, but I think that there's this mindset of, you know, I'm super fucking hot and my boyfriend's treating me poorly. This shouldn't be happening to me. And it's like, well, Brittany, it shouldn't be happening to anyone. You see this a lot in pop culture where you have these beautiful female celebrities who are allegedly being cheated on by their very likely less attractive male partners, and the general population's reaction tends to be, how could we let this happen to her? If Beyonce can get cheated on, then there's no hope for any of us. And it's like, well, yeah. No woman, no matter how attractive they are, is granted immunity from, you know, being mistreated by a less attractive man. We're all in the same club here.
All right, you're good. To the right.
Thank you. Oh, I think that there is a mistake.
Nope, no mistake.
I mean, I'm hot, so...
First of all, that's debatable. Second of all, it's none of my business.
Well, it kind of is, because if you looked hard enough at me, you'd be able to tell that I don't belong in that section.
This is the only section we have, all right?
No, that can't be the only section. That doesn't make sense.
I don't know what to tell you, all right? Unless, what, are you lesbian?
Like, once in college.
You were lesbian once in college.
Yeah, like, weren't we all? What the fuck? Don't be homophobic.
Okay, enough. To the right.
Okay,
let's
hey,
go.
listen. Just between you and me, I think we both know that that section is really only for girls who are 5 and below.
Nope, a woman can't be 5 and below. That's a store.
No, like, I mean...
You are holding up the line, all right? Literally the rest of the entire female population is behind you.
This is so fucked. There's also a certain rhetoric I've been seeing a lot online of people posting about their breakups or about their exes and just kind of ragging on the people that they'd been with about how ugly they were, how uncleanly or unsuccessful. And it does tend to be women, I notice, posting, pictures of them and their ex and framing it in this sort of way as if they were doing real charity work akin to volunteering at an animal shelter or donating blood. And this is a very interesting thing to me because, listen, I understand that some things do not become clear until you have the gift of hindsight, because trust me, the things I've been through, the things I've seen. However, it's like if your ex was really that bad personality-wise, and then you also weren't attracted to them, it's kind of like, wait, so what? You weren't getting the meat or the potatoes. You were okay with just like an empty plate for a year and a half. And I'm not saying that this is a good thing because it is kind of just superficial of me, but at least when I was being treated like shit, I was being treated like shit by a beautiful woman. And it seems like you guys don't even have like that aspect going on for you. And this is excluding abusive relationships. I feel like that's obvious, but I just have to say it because I know how the internet is. I'm talking about the general phenomenon, right, of women choosing to be with men who kind of just don't have a lot going on, not only facially, but just personally. And hey, ugly, unsuccessful people deserve love too. And everyone is on their own journey. Want to leave space for that. However, I think in my mind, I'm just sort of like, okay, so you don't feel particularly physically attracted to this person, or if you do, you kind of have to Pavlovian dog yourself into it. There's a lot of aspects about their behavior that you don't like as well. All that being said, if you're gonna date them, you should at least like them a little bit or get along. But with the way people post about their exes, it's like, I don't even know if you liked them or got along. Seems that a lot of people would rather be with anyone than be alone. And I think that's a phase that a lot of people go through, women and girls specifically, where then you end up in these situations where, yeah, you have a boyfriend who, he's not cute, he doesn't even treat you that nicely, and you're still with him for some reason. Like, yeah, sure, maybe he's not the cutest. Sure, maybe he doesn't show me that he loves me very often, and maybe he doesn't have a well-paying job, and he doesn't really have any passions or aspirations, and he's maybe not that interesting, and maybe, yeah, he's not stellar at sex, and sometimes when I'm moaning, I feel like I'm just a parrot kind of reciting sounds that I've heard in the past. That's a lot of maybes. Maybe. So what do you like about him? Oh, well, like so many things. Obviously, he's my boyfriend. I love that he's just always around. I just love that he's so himself. And yeah. Great. Yeah, that was a whopping 2 things. Overall, love is love, despite class, race, gender, and face card. Evidently. I don't think it's wrong to want to be physically attracted to the person you're dating. I think that's a pretty important part of a relationship. But what is undeniable is the rigidity in what types of women men find dateable, and the versatility and the types of men that women find dateable. And I guess, yeah, this was a nice chat. I don't have a solution, so I hope you didn't come here for one. I just wish that we could live in a world where looks didn't matter. Has anyone ever thought that before? I think I'm the first one to ever verbalize that. Anyways, I hope that you all enjoyed today's video. I hope that you have a full belly and a fully charged phone. And for those of you who made it to the end of the video, my short film is coming. It will probably not be out for a very long time, but if all goes to plan, filming in the summer. I'm a little bit scared to even say this because I don't want to jinx anything, and I don't want to, this is something I really care about. But incoming, passion project, writer, director debut, also starring in it. Whenever an actor does any writing or directing, of course, it's so that they can put themselves in the lead role. But yeah, just want to put that out into the ether. I don't know why suddenly I feel scared, but okay, yes. Thanks for watching, and until next time.